What does the tough Big East back in the 1980s have to do with Luka Doncic and the 2025 Lakers? Why the Luka Doncic trade won't work in the short term nor the long term.
I came here to tell you how it's going to begin, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see.
What happened to the game we grew up playing, watching, and loving? From Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics rivalry with Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers, to the Bad Boy Pistons, to the Michael Jordan-led Bulls, and the 1990s Knicks. When I began making this video, I had no idea where it would take you, the viewer. This one is from the heart. Be sure to stick around to find out where the journey takes us.
And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
During the early 2000s, defense in the NBA was at its height. Scoring was in the mid to low 90s. But before we go any further, let's go back. Growing up, I used to watch the 1980s Big East basketball. My favorite team was the Georgetown Hoyas. My favorite coach was John Thompson, and favorite player Patrick Ewing. While my friends and classmates loved teams like the Houston Cougars and Phi Slamma Jamma, but not me. I loved the tough defense of the Big East. That carried over to my love of the NBA in the 1990s. My favorite player, Reggie Miller, played the game with an intensity and a desire to take down the great teams like the New York Knicks and the 1990 Chicago Bulls. The game had the best players in the world competing at the highest level, and then it happened. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. In 2004, entered the next great one. The chosen one, a player that would carry the league. That's what we were told, and that's what was forced into our heads. The league then began their own assault on the game we all love, taking away hand checking, allowing zone defense, and defensive 3 seconds. The goal was to help scoring and prop up the offensive players who were lacking in fundamental skills. Teams like the Phoenix Suns took full advantage of the role changes, and as we moved into the 2010s with the role changes and sabermetrics, the game began to open up and a more spread out offense, and the big power forward becoming obsolete. A style of positionless basketball evolved, with everyone playing point guard despite having the proper ball handling skills. Everyone became a spot-up shooter despite being a good three-point shooter, even if their size and skill dictated that they should be playing down by the hoop. Reason 1, sabermetrics from Bill James, Billy Beane from the Oakland Athletics, and Major League Baseball, saying that if you could shoot 40% from 3, that's the same as shooting 60% from 2. Reason number 2, floor spacing, to stretch the defense and create open looks from 3 or wide open layups. And reason number 3, it's lazy. It's just flat out lazy basketball. It's so much easier to jog from 3-point line to 3-point line and jack up threes all game. And today's players love lazy basketball. Adam Silver has been allowing the players to run the league for years. Now combine that with their outrageous salaries, many of them, if not all of them, have lost their desire to compete. Players refusing to play, load managing off the court.
What about the fans that saved up to watch me play just once?
Players are not playing on nights when they're on national television.
Load managing on the court. A total disrespect for fans of the sport. Basically a bunch of entitled, spoiled brats. This started out as a piece on why LeBron and Luka can't coexist, can't succeed, and it turned into why I, as well as millions of others, have lost the love of the game. Supposedly you have the greatest player since Michael Jordan teaming up with the greatest young player and the future of the league. But it turns out both players are just weak men, ruining the sport further and further. Neither player is good on defense. Neither player can even bother to get back on defense several times a quarter, every single game. And when they finally do get back on defense, they might as well be standing in tar. And on offense, the all-time scoring leader has 2 moves. The first is to bulldoze his way to the basket, fouling the defenders and getting bailed out by the refs on mysterious calls. His other move is bricking anything outside of 3 feet. Neither Luka nor LeBron know how to play off ball. So if the ball isn't in their hands, they literally stand around at the 3-point line like goons that were never told by a coach how to play the game. The flopping, the poor refereeing, along with the traveling and the illegal screens, have turned the game into a piss-poor product.
Get the officials to call it by the rule book. Okay. Stop the traveling, stop the carrying the ball, stop the moving screens, call the damn game according to the rule book. If you're going to allow them to get away with it, hell, of course I'll keep doing it. Call the game according to the rule book. It's such an advantage to let a guy carry the basketball or take an extra step. That's ridiculous. I charted a game a few years ago. 59 moving screens weren't called. 59. That's insane. I can't even tell you how many times they carried the ball, how many times they traveled with the ball. It's pathetic. For me to watch this game the way I was taught how to play the game and to watch this and what they allow to let go, it's an embarrassment. It's the same thing with screens. You hear even the coaches, when I'm hearing the coaches saying, well, he didn't set a very good screen. Trust me, guys. A player doesn't set a screen. Set a screen? That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to learn to put yourself in the most advantageous position to allow me to take my man and run my man into him, thereby making him a screener. He's a stationary object. He only becomes a screener if I run my man into him. So if I do a crappy job of setting my man up and he's going to come over the screen, what does he think? Oh, I'm supposed to set a screen. So he moves a little bit to try to what? Set a screen. That's a violation. It's a moving screen. It's a foul. Officials don't call it unless you take a guy's head off. That's the problem with the pick and roll play. They don't run it properly, they don't understand it properly, and even the coaches are talking not intelligently about it. You don't set a screen. You put yourself in position to become a screener. A lot of these players don't understand the game because they weren't taught the game properly.
Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create tough times.
But tell me, who did you grow up watching? What are your thoughts on how the game has evolved? And do you still love the game? Leave a comment and a like, and I'll see you again on the other side.